Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I haven't seen you guys since last year. Yeah, I know. Corny joke, but hey, I'm a father. That's what I do. Dad jokes, I got them all day. But seriously, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Marvel Rivals. I'm telling you, it's been going viral. Both of my kids are playing it like crazy, and they're going through the whole ranked mode. And I hear both happy cheers and angry fist pounding on desk sometimes. But it seems to be a really big hit, and it's been consistent. They've released new skins for it, and that's causing drama. So, uh, yeah, it's interesting to see what's going on. Now, here I Hey made a video talking about Marvel Rivals and some of the complaints from some of the people. I guess the handful of players who actually like Concord. So let's go ahead and get into it, see what he's got to say, and we'll kind of give our point as we get into it.
As you may know, some of the modern audience types have been very upset at Marvel Rivals, and I recently saw that Concord Players, yep, believe it or not, there's actual Concord Players that exist. And they're also very upset at Marvel Rivals. Of course, there's
You would think so if you looked at their beta, the open beta they had. They couldn't get anybody to play that game when it was free. Then they go try and blame it on $40 being the reason it didn't sell. Pfft, get out of here with that bullshit. Come on now.
probably a crossover between the modern audience types and Concord Players. And we'll get to all that in just a minute. Let's start here, though, with a little history. 8 months ago, this post on Our Girl Gamers, titled, "Can we just throw some backlash at Marvel Rivals?" I love how they gave it a serious flair. That just makes it more funny. I've been on the fence so long with Overwatch for years. It has diverse male body types, and then female characters are copy-paste with a bare handful of diversity, and these diverse female characters are given such a little amount of attention in cosmetics that it's clear they don't care for them.
Well, of course not, because you're diverse female characters, they don't sell. None of it. That was the problem with Concord. That's exactly the problem with Concord. The reason Marvel Rivals is so big right now is because people, one, are having fun with the game. Two, they love the character designs. They're very easy on the eyes. They're very attractive. Okay, people don't want to play as ugly characters. It's not that complicated. Aspergo did a comparison video on the games Marvel Rivals and Marvel's Avengers and the differences in their skins and how much better, brighter, more attractive, more easier to look at, I guess you could say, Marvel Rival skins were compared to Marvel's Avengers. I mean, some of those, but just look what they did to poor Hawkeye. Oh my God. I mean, seriously, they murdered that guy.
Now I'm watching Marvel Rivals go down the same path. The female characters are all tall, slim, and busty, with a good deal of skin, while the male
There's a reason why they're tall, slim, and busty with a good deal of skin. That's what people like to look at. It's not that complicated. You're either a woman who's fat, ugly, and hates themselves, or you're one of these liberal Karens who want to be offended for anybody and everybody, or you're a dude who honestly lost his man card a long time ago.
characters are fully covered, minus Hulk and the Fishman. Namor. It's so clear that they only just care for straight male gamers.
The fish man. They don't even know his damn name. That's funny.
At this point, it's just a slap in the face. They know what they're doing. It's disappointing since the MCU did such a good job making women less objectified. Fans of the MCU.
What they only care for straight male gamers. So you're implying that lesbians don't like to look at attractive women. I kind of thought that was the whole gig here, right? Thought that's what lesbians were all about, attractive women. Maybe I'm wrong.
Will be playing this game. Very few people read the comics in comparison, making it accurate for them as a joke. Oh my gosh, that's got to be one of the most pathetic things I've ever heard. They need to appeal.
Oh. It's disappointing since the MCU did such a good job making women less objectified. Yeah, and what happened to the MCU since they've kind of went that route? Phase 4 was kind of a bust. I mean, Phase 5, I think that's kind of a bust too at this point. Look, the MCU as it was, the $1 billion cash cow, done. It's not even going to be like that anymore. There's nothing they can do at this point. They've killed it. Unless they go back to the recipe that they used to make it great in the first place. Make Marvel great again.
In comparison, making it accurate for them as a joke. Oh my gosh, that's got to be one of the most pathetic things I've ever heard. They need to appeal to MCU fans only. Forget the comic fans. Don't make things accurate for them. As if there would even be an MCU without the original comics. And they end the post by saying,
Exactly.
Can we just start making noise on these issues? You know what? That's also one of the lamest things I've ever heard. Who talks like that? We need to make noise. Can we make noise on this?
We know who talks like that. Activists talk like that. Come on now.
And what's their noise supposed to do anyways? Like, wow, some unhinged people on Reddit are mad. Yeah, I'm sure NetEase is really going to care about that. I feel like I just waited a decade for my dream Marvel game, and now it's pretty much implied that this game isn't for me. Well, that sounds like great news for everyone else. Imagine being stuck in a lobby with someone like that. The most upvoted...
Oh, and wait. The important thing to keep in mind here is this last line. It's pretty much implied that this game isn't for me. Hey. Correct. If you don't like it, it's not for you. Go play something else. It's that simple.
The most upvoted comment in that thread says, "Consider my noise added to yours. Just tell me where to direct it." Another top comment says, "Yeah, who would have thought that League of Legends did it best? It's so weird. We've had AAA games with diverse women for ages, and here we are, 5 steps backwards from that."
Well, they are right. We've had AAA games with diverse women for a long time. Problem is, you guys just don't seem to find women attractive anymore. You want them all to be fat and ugly or gay, and sometimes all at once. I mean, it's games have always been diverse. That has not been the problem. I mean, is it not obvious to you guys what the problem is? I would think it would be.
And then people would argue about League of Legends also being problematic. So yeah, I just thought that was all pretty funny. Hope you enjoyed that one too. Aside from the brain rot stuff. And now onto more current posts from only 3 days ago on the subreddit for Concord. The post titled, "Any Concord fans try Rivals yet? I'm curious what impressions the fans of Concord have about Marvel Rivals."
Oh my God, Concord holds a special place in my. Who the fuck are they? Is this one of the devs of Concord? It's got to be, right? I mean, because there's no player. There's no player who's going to sit here and say this with a straight face. I'm sorry. Just.
I'm considering giving it a try, but Concord holds a special place in my heart, and I'm hoping Rivals shares similar qualities. And the OP apparently a top 1% poster over on our Concord. It's a real Concord diehard right here.
Oh, it's a Concord, Andy. It's got to be a dev. I'm betting it's a dev. Money on it. It's a dev.
Response reading, "It plays nothing like Concord. I personally don't like the movement or shooting at all, and don't get all the hype and praise it's getting. If you want similar gameplay..."
Oh hell, we got another Concord dev here. Damn.
"Play to Concord, Destiny 2 is your best bet, but the PvP in that game is basically unplayable, unfortunately, but the PvE is still good." They'd get a response that reads, "I feel like the majority of the hype and praise it's getting is just because it's one of the first good online Marvel games to come out in this entire period of MCU box office domination, which is..."
Well, if that's not a bad reason to get hype and praise, it's not. I mean, if it's the first good online Marvel game, well, that's good. Praise it. I mean, they're doing a good job. Well, China's doing a good job with it, not the West. The West can't. Obviously, they can't do it.
Waning, and a lot of people who are unhappy with Overwatch trying to signal boost a competitor. The game itself feels pretty...
There's also nothing wrong with the people who are not unhappy with Overwatch trying to signal boost a competitor. Overwatch, I mean, they screwed the pooch when they came out with Overwatch 2, promising the PvE, decided not to do PvE, and lately it seems like a lot of their skins just are a little lackluster compared to what got them to be popular in the first place. I mean, I don't think I see R34 on a lot of their new skins coming out, but maybe I'm just not looking for it. Who knows?
dang unpolished and unbalanced compared to Overwatch and even Concord. And this different top comment says, "Why did Concord have to die and Marvel Rivals gets to live? It's not as fun as Concord by a long shot. I hate this timeline."
That someone mentioned about it being unpolished and unbalanced. I saw something recently. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up. I can find it. I thought it was posted by Madam Savvy, but basically the response was the unbalance in it is kind of what makes it fun. Overwatch 2 and Overwatch was so finely tuned and overbalanced essentially that it was a chore and unfun to kill someone. So take it with a grain of salt on that one.
They'd get a response that says, "Well, charging $40 when literally every hero shooter is free was a very big misstep."
No. $40 had nothing to do with why this game or Concord. Let me be specific. Why Concord did not succeed. I mean, they had an open beta that was free of charge. No one played it. It wasn't the $40. I mean, all you gotta do is look at the game character designs, and I mean, it's obvious why people don't want to play it. People want to play something that's attractive. Have you went to a con and see how many video game characters, Overwatch specifically, are cosplayed? Why do you think they're cosplayed? Because they're fat, they're ugly, they're diverse? No. They're cosplayed because they're attractive or they're badass and cool. It's one of the two. It's not that hard to figure out.
Response to them reading, "Being free wouldn't save the game, buddy, and Marvel Rivals isn't having success because it's free." This whole chain of comments then especially set up the Concord diehards, who began to go full aggro and get very defensive, which you'll see coming up. As user Pass Foundations would respond to that other user Desfert, where Desfert had essentially said that Concord being free wouldn't have saved it. Pass Foundations responding saying it's one of the main factors of its demise. And that's where we get Desfert saying, "Yeah, let's say it was free to play. Now tell me the difference, how much longer would it last? Even when the game had a free beta, it only hit 2K and kept dropping players, basically kept the same issues from the beta, and then it died only a few weeks later. It doesn't make a single difference to paint a ship with other colors. If you don't fix the holes, it'll still sink." Desfert then going on to list a number of reasons why they believe Marvel Rivals is successful and conclude,
This guy is cooking. I'm telling you. I would love to see the responses to this. Hopefully he shows it.
Concluding by saying, seriously, people, stop thinking free-to-play is the answer for everything. It just shows how clueless you guys are. Yeah, some of them might be clueless, but I think a lot of them are also in complete denial. During the whole Concord
They
saga,
are.
the whole
They are in
Concord arc,
denial.
we saw so many of these defenders ignoring, for example, the whole like DI stuff that Concord had. It wasn't even that they didn't recognize it was there. It's like they wouldn't admit that it was there.
It's because they probably like that it's there. They probably approve and supported this stuff. It's not complicated. People who don't acknowledge it, it's because they approve of it.
They would just do everything they possibly could to dodge how DI negatively impacted Concord
Of
because, hey,
course.
they got to do everything they can to.
Of course, because they're married to the ideology. If they admitted how bad that ideology was for video games and other content, then that's like they are denying themselves at that point, and they can't do that. So I mean, the whole world would collapse.
Defend that corporate policy. Very pathetic. Then we get this hilarious cope that says Concord failed not because of its design, gameplay, price, or quality as a game, but because it became a target.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Why did it become a target in the culture war? Please tell me, why did it become a target? Could it have something to do with its design? Why? Why?
In a culture
Oh my god, I'm doing the Biden thing and I'm whispering again. Stop it, Lee. Stop. Don't do that.
war. From the moment it was announced, discussions about the game were dominated by negativity. Critics labeled it as dead on arrival, woke, or trash.
Why? Why? Why, guy? Why? Tell us why. Because there's reasons, and it has to do with those things at the top that you mentioned it wasn't because of. I mean, the design had a lot to do with it. Look at the character designs. It's obvious.
Before there was even a beta or gameplay footage. This constant negativity overshadowed the game itself. Despite being fun for those who actually played it, few people gave it a fair chance.
I don't know if it was fun for the people who actually played it, because a lot of the people who played it stopped playing it. That was part of the problem. It didn't grow. People left the game. So much so that, they had to close the game. It's not that complicated. Look, if you're going to sell a game, you have to attract people to it. Gameplay is one way of doing it. Quality is another way. But look, the quality of the game isn't going to attract someone initially, because they're not going to see that quality unless they play the game. Or potentially they see someone that they trust play the game, right? So a lot of it has to do with your design and initial trailers and what you put out there. I can promise you, the trailers was horrible. I mean, I did a video on one of their trailers. It did not show, one, any ounce of gameplay. Two, it was very boring. It did not make me feel good. It didn't have the same impact as, say, Overwatch's initial trailer did, which was pretty epic and cool. And the character designs were so fucking ugly. Who would want to play as those? Nobody. And they were so diverse, it's like they had a checkbox. They had to check off for every single ethnicity or whatever they could. Then they had like a mushroom person, whatever ethnic group that checked off. I don't know. But the character designs were horrible. I mean, it's not that difficult. I mean, it's right there in front of you, dude.
Backlash was so intense that even liking the game invited ridicule. In the end, more people criticized Concord than actually experienced it, which made it impossible for the game to succeed. This person is not taking into account how most people didn't even want to play Concord because the hero roster was terrible. It's like, oh hey guys, here's a bunch of losers you can play as. Yeah, gee, I wonder why that didn't work out. Here's another.
Like that Asian chick in the trailer was just like, oh, yeah, okay. I mean, it's just like it did not inspire anybody to play it, unlike the Overwatch trailer, which inspired people to want to play the game.
Their funny exchange with this user Irate Pirate, who responds to the OP. Once again, the OP had asked if any of the our Concord people had played Marvel Rivals. Irate Pirate saying, yes. In fact, my original plan when Concord was coming out was something like, I'm bored of Overwatch, I'll play Concord until Rivals comes out. Unfortunately, that wasn't possible. It's pretty fun. It's not on Concord's level in my opinion, but it's fun. User Icy Ruins responding,
it's not on well, of course it's not on Concord's level. Concord got shut the fuck down. Rivals is succeeding where Concord fell. So you are right. It's not on the same level as Concord.
Saying Concord's level was so high that the game shut down immediately. A different user, Lum Sauce, then chiming in saying, y'all are still here. Figured you people would have stopped hanging around hating a few months after the game shut down.
Dude, he cooked him. Concord's level was so high that the game shut down immediately. Dude.
But I guess life moves slow when you have nothing worthwhile in it. And Icy Ruins responds saying that this post was recommended on their homepage. I also find it funny that Lum Sauce is talking about people still being here on the Concord subreddit, when that can also be applied to the Concord defenders. The game lasted all of 2 weeks, and has been dead for months. And then hopping over to the Marvel Rivals subreddit, we've got this post that says,
2 weeks, and you still got guys dying on the Concord Hill. That's hilarious.
Talk about bad takes, and then posting an image from Outlet the Gamer and an article that they made titled, Marvel Rivals has too many heroes for its own good. You're probably familiar with the game.
Okay. There could be some truth potentially to that later on, but right now I don't think so.
Many channels, including mine, have talked about takes from that outlet, as they're the same type of gaming journalists who often try and call gamers problematic, and they're constantly getting offended at things. They were also being laughed at a few weeks ago during the Veilguard arc, as they made a number of articles
Yeah.
attempting to defend Dragon Age the Veilguard,
Yeah.
only to then later make one
Dragon Age Veilguard is undefendable.
where they kind of walked that back a little bit after they saw the public opinion on the game was negative, and nothing these journalists could do would change that opinion. As
You know how many people I saw turn on Dragon Age Veilguard once they felt like it was comfortable to do so? They were pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. They were all on the hype train until they realized, hey, this game's actually bad. But they still were on the hype train. They weren't letting it slip until they realized that it was actually safe to start saying negative things about the game. That's when they started doing it. So people like that, they're just grifters. I don't trust anything they say. Look, if you think it's bad from the get-go, say it's bad from the get-go. I may disagree with you, but at least I'll trust that what you're saying is what you truly think and believe, right? I mean, if you're one of these people who will jump on a hype train and jump off on a hype train when it's popular, I'm not going to trust anything you say.
many gaming journalist outlets, for example, also IGN, did attempt to defend Veilguard and influence the public in a way that they completely failed at. And now the
Oh man, they dick rode Dragon Age Veilguard so hard. They're like, here's a dick, eat the dick, eat the dick, eat the dick. It's good dick, eat the dick. And people weren't having it.
corpo journos over at The Gamer are attempting to insult Rivals and prop up Overwatch, saying that Rivals should have taken more time with its roster, and making a very weird argument that Rivals has released too many heroes already, saying that people don't care about playing them well or trying to learn what their abilities are, which is obviously a really weird thing to say. Like, obviously people want to play
I don't know if that's true. My son was in they have like some sort of practice mode. I don't know exactly what it's called, but he was like practicing trying to learn the moves and get better at their abilities. So I know people are doing this because he's trying to get ranked up. So he's practicing all of these characters, trying to learn all of their move sets because it sounds like you can't always play as the same character all the time, potentially. I haven't played it yet. It's on my list of games to potentially play. Now that there's like melee guys. If it was purely a shooter, I don't know, but he's like, Dad, you don't have to be good at aiming. There's people in there you can go, hit and fight and punch with. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'll give that a shot.
their heroes well. They then doubled down on the argument that Rivals has too many heroes, and in the lead up to its full launch, more additions were confirmed for the roster, making it hard to determine who I'd main, and if I would even have enough time to learn all their ins and outs before release. Turns out that I didn't, and now the sheer act of playing Marvel Rivals is daunting. Once again, I find myself comparing it unfavorably to Overwatch. Yeah, this just sounds like a massive skill issue. I only started playing Rivals like 2 weeks ago, so not only did I
Or a cope issue.
not play the beta, but I also started it late technically. Don't find it daunting at all. It's a fun game. And I'm not even a great player, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. I know plenty of people probably didn't play in the beta, and they're also having fun with the game, so I don't get what they're trying to say here. Except it seems like they're trying to make any excuse they can to try and insult Rivals and
Yeah.
prop up Overwatch. Continuing, they say, Overwatch turned each new hero into a legitimate event. You would follow each update and tease with fervent anticipation, waiting to find out exactly what role they might.
Overwatch turned each new hero into a legitimate. Have you seen all the drama and excitement over Sue Storm coming to the game and her design, and then the skins they got for her? That sounds like a pretty legitimate event to me. I mean, I don't know if Overwatch had some sort of in-game event. That I don't know, but I mean, people seem to be really on board with what Marvel Rivals is doing and the skins they're releasing. I mean, that's all I can tell you.
might fulfill, and what they would look like. That won't happen when Rivals adds Sentry. Every new hero was unexpected, but for Rivals, it feels like we already have to temper our expectations after NetEase jumped the gun on its A-listers. Yeah, so I think this point is just terrible. I'm actually a huge fan of Sentry. He's probably my favorite Marvel hero. I like how he's a very flawed character. I also like the whole Void thing. And then when he merges with the Void, I think that's one of the sickest character designs in all of comics. Regardless, the point they're trying to make here is that Rivals has already used the A-listers in comics, so the next heroes they release aren't going to be very interesting or compelling, essentially.
Well, their abilities. I mean, yeah, they could easily do this. Look, it's not like the MCU where they brought in some lesser known characters later on into the MCU and they flopped, right? This is different. If the character designs are attractive, people are going to like them. And then if their abilities are easy to play or they're well done, like people will continue to like them. It's the character design that's going to get that attention initially. It's not that difficult to achieve if you're willing to do it. They'll get people to look at them. As long as the abilities are there on top of the design, they'll be successful. It's not that complicated.
Which is beyond absurd. There's still so many A-list heroes that Rivals hasn't added. Comes off like they just don't know what they're talking about. Like, here's some, not including the upcoming heroes in Season 1 and not including villains. But we got like Cyclops, Kitty Pryde, Rogue, X-23, Blade, Jubilee, Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, Iron Lad, and Professor X. And they end by
Oh, hell
saying
yeah,
I
they
could be
still got a
proven
lot.
wrong. But right now, I'm not very excited about new heroes to come to Rivals, because we are already dealing with an excessive roster. There's no moderation and a desire to give players a temporary power fantasy, instead of easing them into things.
There's no moderation. What do you mean by moderation? Yeah, there's moderation. They moderate the hell out of some of the chat functions. Did you not see that Asmongold video about what he could and couldn't say in chat? Yeah. Oh, there's moderation, all right. Censorship, but
This will only hurt the game in the long run, and feeling that way right now isn't a good sign. Well, considering that it's journalists from the gamer saying all this stuff, then it probably is a good sign actually. Generally, if you do the opposite of what these sort of gaming journalists say, then you'll be very successful. But yeah, that's it for this one. Let me know what you think about all this stuff in the comments. If you enjoyed the coverage, please consider liking and or subscribing. Appreciate you. Have a great week ahead, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, I mean,
Think about all this stuff in the comments. If you enjoyed
hold
the
on.
coverage,
There you go. Yeah, my kids have been playing the heck out of this game, and his friends have been playing the heck out of these games. It's a really big game for them, and so they've played nothing but this game recently. And they've played Overwatch, they've played Valorant, and this game right now they love it. My son plays Psylocke, I believe that's who she is. This character, man, I tell you what, her design in the comics back in the '90s, man, I remembered her name. I'm telling you, it's hard not to. Her design was, mwah. But this skin, cute skin, I like it. I'd play as her, but I'd probably play somebody like honestly that's a healer or a tank. I don't know if somebody who I could just Wolverine maybe I can attack with, but I mean this game seems to be really good. A lot of people are playing it. China has been doing excellent with these video game with this video game. Well, with video games recently at all, you got Black Myth Wukong, then you had Korea with Stellar Blade, then you have Marvel Rivals. I think China's coming out with another game that's similar to Black Myth Wukong. As far as I'm sorry, it's similar to Stellar Blade, at least the style of it. When there is what is it, Wu Chain Black Feathers or something like that? That's another game that looks very Black Myth Wukongish. I mean, if it's in the same level, I mean, they are knocking it out of the park right now. Not just with the gameplay, but with the character designs. It's keep it up because I love seeing all these Western devs and all these activists butthurt because a game succeeds where another game that they push for because of diversity reasons failed miserably. So that's all I got for you today, guys. Let me know down in the comments what you think. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content, and I will talk to you guys next time.